It is the season of Lent for Christians around the world. The 6 weeks before Easter are spent in prayer, penance, and repentance. Followers are called on to forgive one another. To begin a conversation on forgiveness, churches have been showing a very inspirational film, Beyond Right and Wrong, Stories of Justice and Forgiveness. It examines stories from large-scale conflicts like the 1994 Rwanda genocide, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and the upheaval in Northern Ireland. Here's a look.
My entire family was killed. I had 11 brothers. They had about 65 kids. No one is alive besides me.
She was 14 years old. We called her the princess. The 2 o'clock news said there was a bombing. She was 14.
In 1984, we targeted the Grand Hotel in Brighton.
My sister woke me up and said, "Which hotel is Dad in? There's been a bomb in Brighton. It's on the news."
One of the dead is the MP, Sir Anthony Berry.
I was caught and sentenced to 8 life sentences, but was released after 14 years.
It was just after Patrick McGee had been released from prison that I actually began to feel the rage.
I think the immediate response is anger.
How can someone play God?
He didn't kill the government, he killed my dad. And now he's free.
You know, most people choose this path of revenge and retaliation.
How do you repair that kind of damage?
Out of the blue, I was contacted by Joe Berry.
I wanted to find alternatives to blaming.
You have to tell your own story, but you also have to hear the story of the enemy.
I realised that this was the beginning of another journey.
Joe Berry and Pat McGee.
And we were starting something together.
Forgiving is the most difficult act to make.
I'm ashamed to say it was the first time in my life that I met Palestinians as human beings.
The first day that I found out his name, he wasn't a soldier then, he was Charles.
We both paid the highest price possible.
Forgiving Charles wasn't going to change the past, but what it did do is change my future.
All the things that I would admire in you came from your father. That meant this was a fine human being, and I killed him. That's heavy.
In unusual circumstances, unusual things happen.
And I think the most important question that you ask yourself is, what can you do personally?
Screenings of this film are being held in conjunction with a group called Film Raise. You can also watch the film for free on their website. They hope to reach 1 million views and raise $500,000 for various charities. Devin Dolan attended a recent screening.
People here at St. James Episcopal Church are listening to multiple stories of suffering and of reconciliation. They hope that by watching this film, Beyond Right and Wrong, individuals, communities, and families will begin asking the question, how can we be people of forgiveness?
There's no easy answer for that.
But people in the film Beyond Right and Wrong have found one we can all learn from.
It's a beautiful film in that it is non-prescriptive, so it doesn't tell people go forgive or go say you're sorry. Instead, what it does is it presents you with people's stories. It allows you to really see the emotional journey that these people go through.
You cannot forget, but you can forgive.
This woman escaped religious persecution in Iran.
What helped me was to give the service back to the Muslim friend, Muslim brother and sister that I have.
By seeing others and herself as the same, she says she has found peace within herself.
People doing evil things to each other, they're not coming from the religion, it's coming from the evil himself. Evil can use many different criteria. Religious, sex, color, this and that, but I go back and give back to the community.
And that spreads. It spreads through the world.
If I am able to reconcile with someone else, their life is made better, my life is made better, and then therefore the community's life is made better.
Beyond Right and Wrong was produced in 2011. It's won multiple awards, but the true work is in the lives it has truly transformed.
Devin Dolan reporting there, and as we talked about earlier in this broadcast, the National Edition has produced a special series on how the 10 Commandments are being lived today. Reporter Sarah Israelson gives us a preview of the first commandment.
Over the last several years, the United States has seen a decline in religious participation. One of the potential problems in discussing religion today is that it often gets tangled in labels and incorrect stereotypes and old definitions, and so it prevents a really nuanced discussion of what's happening across the religious spectrum today. Often those who have a strong faith and attend church are labeled as blindly following or rigidly adhering to rules, which may overlook their deep soul-searching journey to find that faith, whereas those that are nuns or labeled nuns that have no religious affiliation, that may overlook their desire to deepen or develop a relationship with divinity. Many people still want to have a relationship with God, but on their own terms. And they still seek and they find solace in having a relationship with Him, and they find that when they put Him first in their life, their lives go smoother.
We'll have much more on the 10 Commandments series coming up. Also, up next, she juggles motherhood with a job that rocks. Neon Trees drummer Elaine Bradley on the impact her family and faith have had on her career when the Deseret News National Edition continues.